We all know that in mid-2017, it's very easy to go out and spend around $200, $300, or $400 on a new Android smartphone that's worth your time and money. However, what about a phone that's even cheaper than that? One such phone is the all-new ZTE Blade X Max on Cricket Wireless, and if you're bringing a new number over to the carrier, you can currently pick up this guy for just $100. So for that ultra-low price tag of $100, who is the ZTE Blade X Max for, and is it even worth it for that amount of money? My name is Joe Martin from XDA TV, and let's talk about that. Based solely off of its spec sheet alone, the ZTE Blade X Max doesn't really do a whole lot to impress. There's a 6-inch display with a resolution of 1920 by 1080p Full HD, an octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 435 processor that is clocked at 1.4 GHz, 2GB of RAM, a 13MP main camera, and a 5MP front-facing camera. When you combine these specifications with a plastic build, it can be pretty easy to dismiss the Blade X Max as really nothing more than yet another cheap Android phone that's really not worth your time or your money. However, after actually using the Blade X Max for a few days, I realized that this is simply not the case here. Let's go back to that plastic build. The plastic design of the Blade X Max is certainly not as premium as what you're going to find with glass or metal-clad smartphones, but it still manages to feel very substantial in the hand, and a lot of this is thanks to the weight of 6.93 ounces. That weight of the Blade X Max allows it to feel substantial and heavy enough to where it doesn't feel cheap and like a toy, but it's also not so heavy that it's going to weigh your hand down while you're using the thing. In addition to this, you also have some nice touches with the matte silver frame that looks pretty good in person. The power button and volume rocker is very tactile and solid to the touch, and although the glossy plastic back is not the most premium feeling in the world, the pattern blue design does actually look fairly nice and does help to stand out a bit. ZTE made the decision to use capacitive navigation buttons for the Blade X Max, and although I'm someone that does prefer on-screen ones, the capacitive buttons here do work quite well and function the way you expect them to. The non-descriptive dots can be a bit confusing at times when you're trying to figure out which button does what, but thankfully ZTE does allow you to remap both the back and the recent applications button, so you do get a bit of control over how you do want those to function. Now, although you can't remap the main functionality of the home button, ZTE did add a nice thing here where it will pulse as a little notification light when you do receive a new tweet, text, call, or really anything else on the Blade X Max. It's not game-changing by any means, but it is a smart use of space and is a little addition that I really came to love on the phone. Right above those navigation buttons is the Blade X Max's massive 6-inch screen. Now, this is certainly quite the jump coming from my 5-inch Pixel smartphone, and while the Blade X Max is definitely a big phone, I wouldn't really say that it's unusable. I would recommend you use the Blade X Max with 2 hands, but if you are someone like me whose hands are a bit average size, for certain situations you can get by using the phone with only one single hand. Plus, as with any phone with a screen this large, it's a really great canvas for watching videos, playing games, browsing the web, and essentially consuming any type of content. In regards to what it's like to actually use the ZTE Blade X Max, although the phone isn't going to win any awards for its performance, I've got to say that it really does get the job done. Navigating through the overall user interface is smooth enough, although the animations aren't really the smoothest I've ever seen. Apps like Twitter, Chrome, Facebook, all those run perfectly fine, and it's even possible to do some light gaming on the phone. There's more than enough processing power here for kind of basic use, and for a phone of this price point, that's really all that matters. ZTE's take on Android 7.1.1 Nougat is very close to stock from an aesthetic point of view, and although there are a few software additions here and there, the majority of them are actually quite useful and ones that I found myself appreciating on the phone. The only real performance issue that I encountered while using the Blade X Max was when using the YouTube application. Occasionally while watching a video, it would pause for a second, buffer, and then resume playback, and then after doing this, the video portion would stop while the audio continued to play with a black screen. I only ran into this bug about once or twice throughout my whole use with the Blade X Max, So although I wouldn't necessarily deem it as a deal breaker, it is something that's still worth keeping in mind. I tried using the Blade X Max as my daily driver for about 5 days or so, and now it certainly wasn't as enjoyable as what I can get with the user experience from my Google Pixel. I've really got to say that it did do everything that I asked of it. One of the things that caught my eye the most while using the Blade X Max is the battery life. The built-in 3,400 mAh battery packs more than enough juice for an easy 2 days or so of basic use on a single charge, and this is possible due not only to that large battery size, but also that conservative 1080p display and the very power-efficient Cortex-A53 processing chips. Some other nice additions include USB Type-C and a fingerprint scanner on the back of the phone. These are two features we've kind of come to expect from any major flagship device, so having them here on a phone that cost just $100 was really a nice treat. The ZTE Blade X Max costs $99 if you bring a new number to Cricket Wireless, and then it goes up to $149 if you either get a new number from the carrier or you do upgrade an existing line through them. Now whether you purchase the Blade X Max for the full price of $149 or that discounted $99 one, it's still a great buy either as a backup phone or if there's a friend or family member you know who isn't really very tech savvy, but really just wants a basic phone for calling, texting, some application use, and a few games here and there. Now this is obviously not material for an enthusiast daily driver, but for the right person who doesn't need a whole lot of phone or if you just need kind of a secondary device, for $150 or $100, it's really hard to complain with what the Blade X Max does bring to the table. That's what I think about the ZTE Blade X Max, but what are your thoughts? If you've had some time with the phone, how has your experience been? Or if you have any questions about things I didn't get time to cover in this video, let me know what those are down in the comments below. If you liked the video, please go ahead and click the like button, subscribe to the XDA YouTube channel if you have not already. You can find me on Twitter where I am at JoeMaring1, XDA is at XDA Developers, and links to both my social profiles and XDA's as well can be found in the description below. With all that said, I've been Joe Maring with XDA TV. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.